from Abuja studios. Let's get your opinion on how the elections went in Ekiti.
Well, I think it's no longer news that the election in Ekiti has been won and lost, and that the candidate of the APC, that is Governor Fayemi, immediately congratulated the winner. And by this, we have shown the world that we're true Democrats, and that for us, election is not a do-or-die affair. We've also respected the wish of the people, and if you read carefully the statement of the Governor Fayemi, he said, if indeed this is the will of the people, it must be heeded. However, election is a process. And what happens before, during, and after an election is what will determine whether we are actually deepening our democracy or we are not. Election day might be free of violence, might be free of manipulation or collation center, but if you look at the entirety of the election, especially the incidents that happened in the run-up to the election, then we need to x-ray, which we need to x-ray, then we might not come to the conclusion that the election as a whole is free and fair, or that there was a level playing field for everybody. I'll quickly enumerate certain instances that happened in the build-up to the election. About 2 weeks before the election, a peaceful rally by the APC was forcibly dispersed, and in the process, a person was killed. Up to today, there has been no investigation into that killing. Shortly after that, a vehicle was intercepted containing 200 boxes of electoral materials, which INEC quickly described as waste materials. A few days after that, it was reported that some aircraft made some strange sorties into Akure with some suspicious cargo. Up to today, nobody has given any explanation to that. Now, on the day we were having our final rally, the governor of Edo State was denied takeoff from Edo to Akure in his helicopter, while Governor Amechi of Rivers State, who managed to land in Akure, was physically deported from Ekiti State back to Lagos. All members of the party who came to Akure by air, including my humble self, had to go back by road because the airport was closed arbitrarily. On the eve of the election, by 12 midnight, there were reports of selected arrest of our leaders. On election day, not only were leaders, APC leaders targeted, arrested, and picked up, even journalists were picked up and deported in court. You see, what we are saying is that, yes, we're Democrats, and we put the interest of the people over and above our own parochial interest. And for us, election should not be a matter of life and death. But at the same time, we believe that the process leading to the election day are as important as the election day itself. What happens on election day in terms of restricting people's movement or selective arrest does not give credence to a free and fair election.
Well, if you allow me comment here, yesterday we asked the same question of the PDP gentleman who was here, and he says, well, there was no reason for you to have, that is your party members, to have taken that journey 48 hours to election. They said there was ample time and opportunity for them to have come into Ekiti to campaign on behalf of Governor Fayemi.
Coincidentally, on that same day, the Minister of State for Defense, Musili Obanikoro, was also in Ekiti. So also was the Minister for Police Affairs, Alhaji Jalil Adesina. They were also in Ekiti State. As a matter of fact, they drove past, their convoy drove past while we were trying to negotiate the release and movement of Governor Amechi. So what is good, what is source for the goose also ought to be source for the gander.
I think we have to bring that back to you now, because he has just told us that, well, it doesn't really follow. One, they stopped, and your party men were allowed to move ahead into Ekiti.
Well, that's a strange statement as far as I'm concerned. I was in Ekiti for the rally when the president visited, and the people he had mentioned, both the Minister of State and for Defense and the Minister of Police Affairs, they were lodged in Akure, not in Ekiti. If they made any visit to Ado Ekiti at all, it was a brief one. And considering the nature of their job as the Minister for Defense and Minister for Police Affairs, probably they had cause to be on ground briefly, and I'm sure they didn't go there for the purpose of influencing the election. They went there strictly as a member of PDP.
No, that's not the question, sir.
Yes.
I mean, you talked about, I'm sorry, I have to smile, but you talked about the week before the president.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when the president visited. Now we're talking about close to a week after, just a couple of days before.
Okay, a couple of days.
Yes, before the elections itself. Yeah. They say that their members were stopped from attending a rally, and that while they were trying to negotiate, you know, for their members to be able to get into Ekiti State, they saw members of your party
I said,
drive past them into Ekiti State.
Well, I was not there when they drove past
I'm just trying
his
to
own
clarify
convoy
the
or
question,
his own
sir.
cars or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they didn't go there to influence the election in Ekiti State. They went on private visits as PDP members.
Did they tell you that much?
Well, I know they were there, but definitely not to influence one time what went on at the election centers. They were actually lodged in Akure, not Ado Ekiti.
Okay, I think part of the point Alhaji Mohammed is trying to make is that, I mean, if they were allowed to make that brief stop, why weren't these other ones told, okay, look.
They were already on ground. If they were not allowed to go in, how did they pass? How did they manage to?
In Ekiti or Akure?
Your own reporter was on ground. Definitely could have filed in reports. These people could have been interviewed if they actually saw them. That's what it is. People look for excuses when things like this happen. APC has been winning elections, or ACN has been winning elections in the past. Nobody cried wolves. Now that PDP has won, free and fair, and squarely too.
Mr. Charlotte.